Hello and welcome back to another new episode of the Spawn Trap podcast. I don't have a clever intro this week, but okie dokie, I guess. We're just going to be talking about Fallout, the TV series on Amazon. We have both just watched it, the first season. I'm Till. I'm joined once again by Jordan,
Hello, hello.
who hasn't been on the gaming podcast in quite some time, but we have a lot to talk about for Fallout.
I've been very busy with work.
Understandable. And we Jordan's usually my co-host when we talk about Marvel stuff or hit pause MCU, our Marvel podcast. And we've been taking a bit of a break on that because there's not a whole lot to talk about. But boy, is there a lot to talk about now. We'll get to it eventually because Madam Web is out on digital. We have not watched that yet. And Deadpool and Wolverine is coming out soon. And X-Men 97 has just finished the first season. So there's a few things to talk about. So look forward
Which
to
we
that.
will have to go. We will probably make sure that we watch Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters. I will.
Yes, I
definitely want
will.
to. So.
I will for sure.
Mhm.
I'll make an effort to go out in theaters for that for sure.
Yeah, even if it's just like you, me, and Jess. I don't know if Aunt and Yvonne will go, but
No, they won't. And I think they're going on vacation around that time too. But they've already told me they're not going to see it in theaters. So if it's me, you, and Jess, or if it's just you and Jess and then me on my own, if I have to,
I'll go with you. We'll go with you.
Well, we gotta figure out our schedules. We never know. So
yeah, honestly, Jess is so busy with work too. She probably won't be able to go the same time I will. So
okay. Well, we'll figure that out, and we'll be sure to watch it and do a podcast for it. Right now we're talking about Fallout, but before we do, Summer Game Fest is happening very soon in a couple weeks. Yeah, in a couple weeks.
Go right now. Are you? I don't see you. Are
you? Don't.
Is your
Oh,
camera?
I can. Yeah, I can share my OBS here. Maybe if Discord lets me. Sorry. It won't. It literally will not let me. Oh wait, hold on. We'll get it working. Technical difficulties.
I thought you were gonna pop up with the intro, and then you didn't, and then I was like, "This is
it's
going
you
on."
didn't see it. No, I'll have it up here soon.
Okay.
So for everybody watching on YouTube or listening to the audio, I mean, everything on the video is fine. It's just Jordan can't see me. Can you see me now?
Yeah, I can see you now. Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's talk about Summer Game Fest because that's happening soon. We currently have a somewhat of a schedule here. So it depends on what else gets announced because we don't fully know. I actually haven't been looking at social media, so I don't know if other things have been announced since updating this schedule.
Okay.
But I do want to ask you because the day before Summer Game Fest is the Guerrilla Collective, which is actually the first thing we've ever done for Spawn Trap is react to the Guerrilla Collective.
So, yeah, I enjoy that a lot, so I hope to make that one. Which day is that one?
That's on Thursday, June 6th, so it's not on the schedule here. I don't know the exact time, but I don't know for sure if I will be available. That's the thing.
Okay.
So
I usually work during that time, so as long as if it's before 4, I probably won't be able to unless I make my work day a half day. I could probably do that. So I like that one.
Okay.
Even if we don't live react to it, even if we do it like
a post reaction
the next day. Yeah. Could always do that too.
That's something we can figure out. Yeah. So I'll discuss that with you afterwards because here's the thing. Court said that she's probably going to be available that day. So even if you are available to watch it live and I'm not, she's pretty much set up to produce everything on her end. So you two can do the reaction for that, even if I have to skip out. I would love to watch it, but I can't say for sure that I'll be available.
Sure.
So we'll figure that out. But what I am available for, and we're gonna figure out who's gonna be able to show up to what, is pretty much on the screen here. So on Friday is the big show, the Summer Game Fest, and Day of the Devs soon after that. So that's Friday, June 7th. 3 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and we will be live reacting that on twitch.tv/SpawnTrapTV or youtube.com/@SpawnTrapGames. They will be archived on YouTube if you want to watch it later. Saturday, June 8th is the Wholesome Direct in the morning, future game show. I should say, because there's an audio version of this podcast here. 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern for the Wholesome Direct. And then at, I guess directly at, oh no no no. Okay, this is late. I get my time zones mixed up sometimes. All right, so 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Later that day is the Future Game Show hosted by that's from Games Radar. That's usually a long one, and I don't understand why they continue doing that because the next day, Sunday, June 9th, is the PC Game Show, run by their sister publication, PC Gamer, and they pretty much show the exact same games. So I don't know why it's 2 days worth, but it's on the schedule. So that morning is a big one though. It starts off with Xbox Game Showcase, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And then later that day, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, is the PC Gaming Show. And then on Monday, maybe finally, is the Future of Play Direct by Glitch. That's at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern. And then later that day is the Ubisoft Forward. There's no time yet. I did see on The Verge posted it at 3 p.m. Eastern, but nowhere else says that it's 3 p.m. Eastern. So I can't say for certain. But I would trust The Verge, and I'm assuming that it will be 3 p.m. Eastern. That's the current schedule. We don't know anything about PlayStation. It was rumored they were supposed to have a showcase last week. That didn't happen. Nintendo is definitely having something in June, but there's no date or time yet. They usually announce things very last minute. So I'm surprised they even said that there's a direct in June. We don't know about Devolver Digital, limited run games, or any of the other usual suspects that we see around E3 or Summer Game Fest time. So this is what we currently know for the schedule at this time.
I better get a Gears of War game this summer, man, or like next year.
I think
like
I think there was a rumor for one. So maybe.
like it's Gears 5. I don't know what everyone else is feeling about that
Yeah.
game, but I fucking loved Gears 5.
Well, I
And
think
the
the rumor
6
is
just
that
seems
one is in the works, and based on what's happening at Microsoft right now, it sounds like they want Xbox to focus on what works, like their top
yeah.
franchises, and nothing else.
I
So
feel
it
like
sounds
Gears has
like
got to be one of the top ones, right? It's
yeah,
got to be up
yeah.
there.
I would say Gears is probably due for a comeback.
Yeah. 4, I liked 4. I enjoyed 5 a lot. I thought the story in 5 was great, and it's just some things they need to tweak, especially with the multiplayer. But
Yeah.
anyways,
So this schedule is available with the link at quickattack.net/podcast. If you want to check out the schedule, as well as our Discord, we'll have a schedule as well.
Mhm.
So, let's talk about Fallout. Why don't we start with this? Like, do we have any experience with the games?
I can see you moving it back and forth.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix the camera.
I was like, I can move it if you need me to.
No, I got it.
Alright.
Do you have any experience with the games?
I don't actually. Like I remember I bought them all on Steam and I played them a little bit. I didn't love the gameplay a whole lot. I can't remember which one I started with, and I didn't love it. And I wanted to say that first before we got into Fallout because I know there are people who
Yeah.
are like, these guys aren't even real fans and blah blah whatever.
I think
I
they
gotta
made
say
the show for people who didn't play the games, though.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
potentially, but like, see, that's where I also feel that hatred because for people who are like, "Oh, I love Halo, the show is so good," I want to slap you because the games are amazing and the
Yeah.
show was in a total. But the thing about the Halo one is that they went on their own direction using all the same characters. This show, I guess, has its own time period from what I know, so you can just kind of make up things with still throwing nods to the
Hmm.
show and like its lore, and like that's really cool. Like I know for instance in the show there is a skull of a death claw, and at least I'm pretty sure that's what that is, which is a cool nod to it. Maybe we'll see it in the future. But it's just like stuff like that is really cool. But I didn't play a lot of the games. But I will say, after watching the series, I am
Hmm.
playing Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout Shelter like on Xbox and on my
Oh
phone
yeah.
religiously. Like
Wow.
I'm on
Okay.
Fallout Shelters on my phone all the time. I can't stop playing it. It's a problem.
That's such a time management thing, though. I don't feel like I can get into that game.
It is.
Um.
It is a lot. So I'm probably not gonna be one of the people who know a lot about the game, which is sad. I just with work and stuff, I am playing the games and getting as much information as I can, but it's hard to follow, and the gameplay is so old that I'm like, but yeah, like I had a lot of fun with it. Like I
Yeah.
think Fallout 4, after like an hour of playing, I got to use that metal suit and I had a big machine gun and I had so much fun and I was fighting a death claw in that suit, which was so cool. Um,
From what I read, it sounds like the game takes place within the already established universe of the games. Like it's not a inspiration by the games. It's an actual like these are actual events from the games, like in its own spin-off story.
Yeah, right, I think so. I thought it was I because I was asking your cousin Mike, and I think
Mhm.
he told me that it is a different, like it's if you go in like the timeline, like there is a spot for this thing in the timeline.
Right.
That's what
Okay.
he
Yeah.
told
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
within the timeline, but canonically part of the
right.
game series. Yeah.
'Cause from my understanding of the Fallout series is like
Hmm.
the vaults can open at different points in time, which is why you could be in a different era or a different event could happen or a different
Right.
leader could be
Yeah.
ruling the surface. So this game is like, or this series is like, hey, we're just gonna pick 200 years after the Fallout. Like I have no idea when
Yeah.
Fallout 4. I can't remember when Fallout 4 like you released, so I don't have a lot of information on that side. But for this show, I've watched it 3 times already.
Oh,
That's how much I,
really?
yeah, which is why how much I
Damn.
liked it. I watched it once by myself, and
Yeah.
then I watched it. I made my girlfriend watch it with me. She actually really liked it, and then I throw it on in the background like when I'm cooking and stuff, just for like action stuff, and I've went through the whole thing again. So
The show's very gross though. I don't know if like I'd want to watch that with food, like eating and everything.
that
Yeah.
doesn't bother me. I loved it. I thought it was so good.
Um, yeah, I've never played any of the games. I want to
No.
say I want to say my brother has,
I think
but
yeah, he told me he played a little.
yeah, but otherwise I don't like other than like glimpses of what he's playing and, you know, by osmosis the story and the setting and everything. I really
Right.
didn't have a lot of context for the show. Um, so pleasantly
I
surprised jumping into it.
I didn't either. If you wanted to say like there was, if you needed like 200, let's say knowing everything was 200%, I
Yeah,
knew like 0.1% of the stuff. I knew that that little wristband was called a Pit Boy or a
Pip Boy.
Pip
Yeah.
Boy. I couldn't remember if it was Pit or Pip, so that's already I'm already wrong for that. But I knew the name of that thing, and I had the little vault guy. I knew that was from Fallout, and that was my extent of the Fallout. And that armor, I don't even know what the
Yeah.
name of the armor is. I already forget. But I already knew the armor, so
I knew
I
that
had no
currency is bottle caps. I knew that.
that. Yeah, I knew that too,
Yeah.
and I knew I obviously had to do with shelter and a nuclear fallout. But
Yeah.
like I didn't know characters. I didn't know there was ghouls. I didn't know that. That was kind of a
Hmm.
cool intro for me. I was like, that's really cool. I didn't know there was ghouls. I knew there was a dog. That's
Yeah, there was just the one dog in the show. Does that dog
yeah,
have
but
like any context for like?
yeah, that's
Uh,
it's he's in Fallout 4 as far as I'm playing. It's his
is it
name
the
is
same dog or is
Yeah,
it?
his name is Dog Meat in the well from okay, I maybe not, but it there's in the show his name is like a subject name, so the dog's name is like X5 Max something whatever. It has a
Right.
whatever name. But the ghoul calls him Dog
Dog
Meat,
meat. Yeah.
and in Fallout 4 your dog's name is Dog Meat. So there's like
Right. So is
references stuff.
yeah. So that is the same dog then.
It could be. It looks exact same to me. I just don't
Okay.
know if it takes place in a different era or if it's actually supposed to be dog meat
Right.
or if that's just they're like, hey, we're gonna call this dog meat, but it's not actually the same dog. It looks like him though. And then in
Interesting.
Fallout Shelter, because Fallout Shelter on mobile is the only one still being up to date and stuff. There
Yeah.
is a event or a mission you can do in the game only on your phone, from what I've gathered. You can rescue Lucy, the ghoul,
Hmm. Okay.
Maximus, the dog, Mama June, and the snake oil salesman. You can rescue them all and put them all in your vault, and they all have like really high stats and stuff. I rescued them all; they're really
So
cool.
then, is Fallout Shelter part of the canon as well? Or is it just a dumb like side mobile game?
I think it's a dumb side
Yeah,
mobile game. You basically just build your shelter, and you guys all just have to work and like make resources for the thing, and you can customize your characters and stuff in it. Like you can
yeah,
only have up to 200 vaults. Because at certain points I get attacked by death claws and I got to fight them off. Then I got to fight and raiders as well, which is all in the game. But then I started having to fight aliens, and I don't think aliens are in the show. So, or like in the thing. So, like every once in a while, I get attacked by aliens, or I got to go find a base that has UFOs in it. And I think that's just all silly stuff. Like, I don't think it's actually
yeah.
part of Fallout. So, uh, but the game is, I don't know, the mobile thing is fun for me right now. So, it's eating up my time at work and stuff.
Well, we're going to be going into full spoilers of the Fallout show. So this is a spoiler
Yes.
cast episode of this podcast, which we haven't ever done, to my knowledge, on this podcast. Um, and we're just going to be talking about Fallout for that reason. So if
Yeah.
you've watched the show, uh, we're going to be diving into the entire series. If you haven't watched the show, it might be a good idea to stop this episode, watch the show, and then come back and then hear our discussion on the show.
Yeah.
Um,
And please, if you have any comments and if we said something wrong about the show, please let me know because I am like full on Fallout lore right now, so I want to know the information. So because you've
there you go.
recruited a new Fallout fan, so I love this.
You can
I
let us
was
know in the comments of the video on YouTube, or I honestly don't know which audio platforms has comments. I haven't looked into that.
Mhm.
You can let us know on social, wherever you want.
Yeah,
Um, do you want to start off the discussion anyway? Because I got to remember what happened per episode.
sure. Yeah, I don't even remember fully. I believe the first episode was it was just going over Lucy was going over her training and kind of telling you about life in the vault. She showed you that she was like, passing all her um tests and exams and everything they learned in the vault, but she was only okay at shooting. Um, so from what I gather from the show, she only has like a limited a bit of like martial arts techniques. Like
Yeah.
she's kind of a okay fighter. She's not like novice, but she's not you know amazing by any means. She's okay with a gun. Um,
Did
her first
I
out
did I overlook something or like not pay attention, or did she say she was fucking her cousin?
yeah, so in the show they
Okay.
do have sex. What I think she quoted is sex is all fun with fooling around with your cousins, but it's not good for breeding, which
Yeah.
is funny in the Fallout Shelter game because I have to breed characters in order to make more, right? So a female is pregnant for like 3 hours, and then they give birth, and then that kid is only like a kid. I don't know if it's like 8 hours, and it becomes a full adult, and then you have to keep
Right.
breeding. But if you put two family members in a vault together, it says, "Oh, it's so nice to spend time with family." So you can't breed them, but it's so funny because I was like, "Oh, I gotta make sure I follow their names and I don't
Yeah.
accidentally." But they get rid of that in the game, so you can't accidentally do it. But yeah, that Jess was like, "What are you making me watch right now?" Like she was like, because that's the first episode, and
Is that any worse than like Game of Thrones? Like,
that's what
come
I
on.
said. I was like, you love Game of Thrones. I was like, don't even right now. I was like, they just mention it, okay? And
Yeah.
you know what? She's a point. It's not good for breeding purposes, so she knows. Um, but yeah, it was the first episode I think is just like her getting married, and she's marrying a breeder from Vault 31, I believe. They're Vault
No,
33.
Vault 32 actually, because 31, later in the show we learn is
Yes,
like
yeah,
where a
you're right,
lot
you're
of
right.
characters come from.
Yeah, so 31 because I was thinking it was yeah, it's 31, 32, and 33.
Yeah,
So she's in Vault 33. They find a breeder from Vault 31,
32.
32, 32.
Yeah.
Yes, 32. I was like, man, I'm already going over. 32. And then the wedding, I don't know, I guess it was like a good wedding until like then you find out that they're raiders
Mm-hmm.
and they start attacking everybody and killing a lot of them. Um, Trying to think. So she does have sex with the guy. She does
Yeah.
have sex with him, and he has a great day. And then all of a sudden, and 2 minutes later, they're fighting, and yeah, she doesn't kill him, but her dad kills him. Her dad kills him. Trying to think. I did like the whole vault thing they got going on. I like how uh what's the word I want to use when you're kind of gullible. I guess they're all kind of gullible in the vault, right? They're all kind of like
Hmm.
yeah, they're all pleasant and happy and everything is rainbows and sunshine to them. And
Yeah,
then
they're oblivious to the outside world.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um I think that was most of the first episode, and then they kidnap her dad.
Yep.
Um this I forget the
Which was
woman's
kind of
name.
the purpose that they were there, it seems like.
Yeah, what
But
was
they
the
also,
woman's name? It was like a leader named Mordova. Mordol.
yeah, something with an M.
I guess I pop it up on my phone so I can know the
Yeah.
names of people. But she kidnaps Lucy's father. We
Hmm.
don't at that moment in the show we don't understand why, but then Lucy decides to leave the vault and go after him. And I believe the first episode of the show is called The End, and it is when she leaves the vault and she's left with just her brother left in the vault trying to like figure out why like he starts to put clues together, so there's only a little bit of like the brother's kind of pissed that
Yeah.
forget what do you want to call it, he's kind of pissed that so the people that capture in the vault, like the raiders or whatever, they capture them and they feed them and they let them live, whereas some people in the vault want them dead, and then there's some turmoil in that regards, and it just kind of ends there for a bit. But the other episodes, I'm trying to think of what the next one is.
For episode 2.
Yeah, for episode 2, I'm
Uh,
trying to remember where that starts.
did we get everything in episode 1? So I know it started off with Walter Goggins' character and his daughter at a birthday party
Oh,
when the bombs go
that's right.
off, which was a
That's
really
true.
cool opening.
Yeah, I missed the whole good opening. You're right.
I think the first episode was her just leaving the vault.
I think it is, but you're right. It does have that. It has we are immediately introduced to the ghoul,
Hmm.
200 years in the past when he's a human, and he's having a birthday party for his daughter. He's clearly like a Hollywood actor.
Moldaver.
Moldaver. Yeah. So I don't really know how to go over everything like episode by episode because like I'll just kind of fill in some stuff like
Hmm.
um the what we learn. I hated the Fallout suits. I hated the blue and yellow. I thought they looked like garbage
Really?
in
Okay.
the so in the games. I always thought they
Yeah.
looked like crap. In the show, I thought they didn't look that bad. They looked pretty
Yeah, they
good,
look pretty good.
especially when Lucy she starts gearing herself all up. I'm like, they
Yeah.
look really good, like armored. And they have that in the Fallout Shelter games. They have the regular suits for my vault. They look
Yeah.
terrible. But they've introduced Vault 33 suits that you can put on your characters, and they look really good. They look kind of like Lucy. Um, you can also get a wedding dress, and you can get an armored wedding dress, which makes your character look like Lucy with like the blood, and she's got like the bandolier belt and
Does she
like the
carry a head? Decapitated head?
no, she doesn't. She has a like the trank gun though, like the little
Yeah.
trank gun, all that stuff. So they have all that. They have the armored vault outfits, which look really nice too. So just kind of more geared up. So I was really happy that they made the outfits look a little bit more like better because apparently
Yeah.
they're supposed to block radiation too. So
I feel like when they introduced that, um, like they were lying about it. Like, like they were like, yeah, these suits block radiation, and then like his character, the actor, is like, so they really do this, right? And they kind of had like shifted the look, like, yeah. I
yeah,
think they're
nah,
like lying about the suit. I think that everybody in the vault's wearing them, thinking that they block radiation, but they don't actually do that.
yeah,
And
that's my thought exactly. They actually never like cleared that up, but that's how I
yeah.
thought too. Um, So I can't remember. I don't know why he's working at a birthday party as his
I don't
uh
think that was made clear. I feel like that is so that's after all the other events of the flashbacks that we get through the show,
right.
clearly. So
I thought he was
something,
going through a divorce or something, and I thought they were
yeah.
talking about a divorce in the beginning, but they never fully went on it. So there may have been a divorce,
So we're flashing
and
ahead a little bit, but they were having like
right.
he was spying on his wife because he didn't trust her for
Hmm.
good reason. And so something after that caused them to split up or something. But he still had his daughter. Obviously, he's not a big time actor at this point. Like at the point of him spying, he was very well known. He was a huge actor, but now it seems like he's not getting gigs or anything, and he's just working at a birthday party.
Yeah,
And I'm assuming it's sort of like just how Vault Tech owns everything, and if he's going forward with this information, that they somehow like discredit him and ruin his life because they own everything, right? That's the biggest
that's
corporation in the world.
they didn't quite say that, but I was wondering
Yeah,
if that's what it was, or if it was just like I don't know if maybe goes through a divorce later or something. But what they
yeah,
say at the party is they're like, "Why is Mr. McLean doing this? And like,
yeah,
why is he working at a birthday party?" And he goes, "Oh, he's got to pay." I don't know if they said he's got to pay alimony or he's got to pay back something somehow. They said something about him
yeah.
needing the extra money or needing extra money. So,
I'm guessing because he can't
uh,
get work because he was like discredited or something from Vault-Tech, saying
yeah,
like he's like a terrible person. You know, like
yeah,
like the biggest thing in the news right now is P Diddy. So like
yeah.
P Diddy's not gonna find any work anymore. So like he's gonna have to work at fucking. Well, he's not gonna be working at kids' birthday parties, that's for sure.
No, that's a bad.
but,
It's not the same.
but I'm just saying, like that sort of uh
Right.
thing, right? Like nobody will want to work with him again. So
Um, yeah, so then a nuke goes off at the
hmm
birthday party, and then a whole bunch of nukes go off, and he runs into like he everybody starts leaving in cars and stuff, and he's on a horse, and he throws his daughter on a horse with him,
yeah,
and they take off, and they don't really show throughout the whole season what actually happens to him. Uh, Obviously he becomes a ghoul. If you haven't
yeah.
even watched the show, you can see him clearly in that, but the show itself takes place 200 years prior, and then he's or after, I
Yeah.
guess. So he becomes a ghoul. So I don't know. They don't show if like he died by the fire or if he somehow got to a vault or
Yeah.
I don't know how if he survived because I feel like if you get hit by fire immediately you're dead. You don't just turn into a ghoul. The ghoul part is
hmm
radiation, from what I understand. So
Yeah.
and the whole point of it is he says like he's looking for his family. Is like even before I was watching the show, like we'll get to that, but I was like, this guy's looking for his family, isn't he? Like it's got to be like that sort of thing. So
You think his wife's still
um,
alive?
I don't know, because like she's a vault tech person, so I
Yeah.
assume that she must be alive.
And she would have
Um,
known, like they were planning the bombs dropping, so like she would have
yeah,
known when they were dropping. So why didn't she have her kid with her? Like
yeah.
that's the thing, right?
Oh, for sure. That's I was thinking the same thing, and I'm like, there's no way. There's no way the daughter. I don't know. That daughter was so cute. There's no way they're gonna kill her off. I was like, no. I was like, how dare you
Well,
kill off the
they might
daughter?
have to, because how long is it gonna take for a season two, and how old is she
True,
gonna get, right? Unless they
true.
film stuff
I
ahead
guess.
of time, they could have filmed stuff ahead of time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't mind if you use a different actor or something too.
yeah,
I guess they could say they froze her though. Who knows?
yeah,
It is. There's something there. So the daughter's whereabouts 200 years in the future is unknown, and so is the wife's. Um,
yeah. I'm assuming that he had some sort of like the radiation thing that he takes. Vault-Tec had that for like the higher ups in the corporation that want to survive a nuclear apocalypse. So he probably stole some of those supplies or something, and he was
mhm,
prepared to survive after the bombs.
yeah,
But I don't know. I'm just assuming. I have no
yeah.
idea.
Well, let's go through the episodes, and then maybe our minds will click together on some more information. But I think I can't remember what the second episode was about. Was it just
Was
about
that
her going on an
introducing
adventure?
the Brotherhood of Steel?
Yeah, I think so. Could be
Yeah.
right about that. Even if honestly, like we might not even go from episode to episode. We could kind of
Yeah.
we'll just kind of
Just
do our best to
in
follow the
general.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah, follow the story. I won't. We didn't write any notes down, so
No, we didn't.
yeah,
The Brotherhood of Steel, I honestly didn't like them that much, and I didn't really get the whole purpose of them.
no.
Um,
I didn't think they were a really cool guild.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they got like the one guy's character, who takes the other guy's name, Titus or something.
yeah.
Um, uh, like aside from like his character, because it seems like he's the
Maximus.
focus here. Yeah, Maximus. Um, so he's obviously the main character of that portion of the story, but
Yeah,
the whole organization, I don't think it was very clear like what is the whole purpose of them. It seems like either they do work for Vault Tech and they're kind of like under the orders as like sort of like a religious guise to gather information or take out targets based on the higher ups. And this might
right.
be more explained in the games and I'm just like missing out on that stuff, but like I
Yeah,
never like absorbed that portion of the game, the guys in the armor. Um, but they just like all that's known is like people above them are telling them to find this scientist's head because he has the information in it.
right.
But they don't. It's not really clear like who they actually work for or why they need this.
Yeah, they seem
Yeah.
there was like that thing where they it's kind of like a etch a sketch almost, and they are like circling in bubbles to like get the face of the guy whose bounty it was.
Yeah.
So it's sort of supposed to be like future technology, but kind of like outdated too, or like they're like scrapping together. But they seem to be the most tech build people. I don't know,
Hmm.
the most advanced technical people on the surface so far because of all the like they have spaceships, like they have like like helicarriers that turn into planes and shit. Like they have fucking they had a giant blimp. They clearly are like the most dominant on the surface. It doesn't really seem like they're raging a war sort of thing at the moment, but
Yeah.
from what I've gathered, they seem to be the most advanced in technology. They're I don't know the name of the suits. I think they're called power armor. But
Yeah.
the power armor is really cool. It runs on like a nuclear cell, which is pretty sweet.
They're very
Um,
slow.
yeah, very slow, but they can also fly.
Yeah.
And the guy Titus seemed like he didn't use his very well to be a knight, and he seemed like he had a whole bunch more arsenal that he could have took out a bear. Uh, um, Maximus took it out with a couple shots to the head with a pistol, but that guy dropped his gun, didn't use his fire thrusters to fly around at all with it. Like there's clearly a lot more that you can use with that armor that Titus guy did not do and just got his ass handed to him. Um, Evidently Titus is like basically dying and asks
Yeah.
Maximus to save him, and Maximus in the same situation I would have been in, I'm like, fuck you, dude, I'm taking your armor, like you're a dick.
Yeah.
So definitely feels like they should treat their squires better, because otherwise squires are just gonna start letting them die. Feels like the roles are
It's
reversed too, because it's not really like a team thing.
yeah.
It's like you had to protect your knight. I'm like, that seems weird because he's the one with the armor,
It's
and
a
all
whole
I
like it's like a religious
it is.
hierarchy.
Yeah, it's
And
like
it's sort of like the prison power system, like the experiments people do like running a fake prison, and the guards end up getting like abusive with power, just like in
yeah,
an actual prison or an actual authoritative
right.
situation. So it's clearly like that's what's happening in that situation.
Yeah, I didn't. You're right. I didn't care for the whole
Mm.
religious aspect of it. I feel like I would have been. I don't know them that well. Maybe they're right to a T of how the games are. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But I don't care for that. I would have preferred if they were more of like just a straight army and like actually like a brotherhood, because it didn't feel like a brotherhood to me. It just felt like, hey, we are gonna have some cool guys in power armor, and the rest of
Yeah.
you are expendable. So
Yeah, it's a fake
yeah.
organization. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I do like the armor. Maximus eventually like starts to get it.
Hmm.
Um, I think the first thing when Lucy leaves, she runs into the guy who's the bounty is after, but we don't know. well, she doesn't know that at the time.
Mhm.
She runs into him. He gives her some good piece of advice about returning back to her vault, and it's not safe up here. The man is also with the dog at the time because he escaped from a lab. He injected himself with his some like liquid stuff in his neck, like it's like glowing in the side of his neck.
Yeah.
That is not explained until like the end of the series, and it seems Maximus is after that head. The ghoul is after that head, and Lucy is sort of after the head, I guess, in terms
Yeah.
because um,
All we know is that this guy knew her father,
yes,
or knew of him at least, and um that mission that he was on was to, well, it was to provide the piece that they needed to bomb another vault, right? Wasn't that pretty much the goal?
for what? Sorry.
The people from that place that was bombed, from one of the other like vault techs, they were using that little core that the guy shoved in his head as the
Yeah.
final piece to their, like, this is the last episode, the final
Yeah, you know
piece to
what?
their weapon to
It's
like
almost
attack another vault.
yeah, it's almost a little too hard to explain it without people watching it. So if you've already
Yeah.
watched it, we're not gonna really spoil it.
I
So I
mean,
might as
yeah,
well just go through it.
this is a
So
spoiler podcast. We're
yeah,
assuming everybody's watched this, so
so um, yeah, I might as well just go over the story and then tell us what the
yeah,
parts that we liked, I guess, because it's too hard to like sort of half explain something and then get
yeah,
back to it. So the core that the guy shoves in his head is like I think it's called nuclear fusion or cold fusion. I think it's cold fusion,
right,
and that's what Moldova used to power an entire city called Shady Sands, and that was like the new America. And they had like I think it was like 300,000 civilians or like 30,000, and they had already like recreated a society. And then we find
yeah,
out that Lucy's father had bombed that city. I don't know how. I'm assuming Vault Tech must have extra nukes that they can nuke whenever they want.
yeah,
So you might find out more about that in season 2. Um, but that is why Moldova took him because he bombed Shady Sands, which is also where Maximus is from. He
yes,
survived that bombing. So his character is kind of he loves the idea of being the hero because he was saved by someone in the power armor.
hmm,
So if you are not deserving of that power armor and you're not going to save somebody, he finds you are pretty much like you don't deserve it. So I think that's why he lets Titus die. Titus, I
Titus,
forget his
yeah,
name. Yeah, Titus. Um, he pretends that they stole his that his squire died when in reality his knight died. He pretends to be Titus, so they send him a new squire.
hmm,
And I guess I'll go back to that point. What else happened with them trying to escape? I guess Maximus, the ghoul. There's a shootout in the town. What's the name of that town? I can't remember.
yeah.
But that's the overall story. Now we'll go through the episodes, I suppose.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, we don't even need to have to go through the episodes, but I mean, before that, there's these two guys that dug up the ghoul from the grave, who had like an IV bag,
yeah,
down into the grave to kind of like keep him as like functioning
yeah.
ghoul with
I believe that
yeah,
IV bag has Radaway in it. If I'm not
gotcha,
wrong, I think that's called Radaway, and I don't know what that means. I think it means radiation away.
yeah,
If
yeah.
I had
I
to
think that
guess.
is, yeah,
And so it's like a Radaway potion that allows ghouls to not turn into their feral state,
yes,
so they can remain a human that apparently can regrow limbs, not really take a lot of damage. 'Cause I'm pretty sure he puts his finger back on
they
at one point, and it just
they
goes back
regrow
on.
limbs. Have we seen that?
I don't know about. Well, I mean, did he just put his thumb right back on, and he just sewed it back on, and it was like good to go.
Well,
Like you don't need.
sewing it is
Yeah.
different than regrowing it.
Well, we saw the
Yeah.
other kid. He had his whole foot smashed, like the bones completely destroyed.
Oh shit, you're right. Yeah, there was something that had him
So
grow.
pretty
Yeah.
close to regrowing limbs. His foot was smashed to smithereens,
And
and
he got
that Radaway
shot. He got shot and he was
through the
fine. Yeah, so that's
yeah,
what it
he got
seems like ghouls are, yeah.
yeah. So I don't really know if you can die unless you take a headshot. I think is the only like the way to
Yeah,
kill a
because the
ghoul, if I
other
had to guess.
ghouls in that supermarket or that whatever convenience store, whatever it was, they were shot in the head, and that's how they died, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he
Okay.
shoots his friend. He shoots his friend Roger, I think. He makes him talking about pie, and he's like, "How you
Yeah.
doing, Roger?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm okay." And he
Yeah.
starts to sort of go feral, and it was a really cool scene actually by the ghoul where he starts talking to his friend who's also a ghoul.
Yeah.
Starts to talk about mom's cooking and how good pie used to taste like and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And this ghoul starts to smile and be all happy, and then he takes a round to the head, and it's like kind of a surprise. But I thought it was a kind of a nod to his character being nice again with the whole like he let his friend think about something nice before
Yeah.
dying in a surprise way. It was like his last thoughts were good thoughts, but
Yeah.
then he carved his butt and ate it. So I, you know,
Yeah.
it's different.
I have to say.
Yeah. But the shootout in the town was really cool. This Ma June, she was meant to protect the guy with the cold fusion in his neck. Um, and then that fight goes out between the ghoul and Maximus, which I thought was really sweet. It was a pretty good fight. Same thing with the ghoul, like just murdering everybody in the town was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because I like violence.
Sorry if I'm
Yeah,
distracting, and letting you carry the conversation. I'm trying to order food that
that's okay.
like
I
groceries and
am.
stuff, and every single item. This is out of stock. This is out of stock. Okay, just
I'm kind of all over with it. It's such a good show, but it is hard to it's not hard to follow. It's hard to relay the information because
mm,
they go back and forth between the present and then 200 years in the past, and they show you more of um it's like just a little bit at a
they
time. They
flash
just show
back and
you.
forth. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a lot, and then there's also different stories they flash between. So they kind of show you more of the ghoul. They show you a lot
Yeah.
more of his life
It's pretty
he's
much all
actually
his, like all the
yeah.
flashbacks are his story.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What was cool that I don't know if it was ever shown in any of the games.
Hmm.
Maybe it was talked about, but it was cool to see that he's actually the face of the Pit Boy, whatever. Like they did the.
Yeah, yeah, it was modeled after him. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was a cowboy who had like a blue and yellow sheriff type outfit. I don't think he was a sheriff, but he was like an outlaw or something, or
Yeah.
maybe he was. I think he was a sheriff actually. So he was a sheriff. He was a good guy, and um, I thought that was cool. And then they're like, "Hey, his wife was like, "Hey, we
Hmm.
have these radiation suits from our vault tech, and we mirrored it from your uniform from your show." And they're like, "So we'd love you to be our face of it, do our commercials." So he does
Yeah.
commercials for Vault Tech, and he does a bunch of different poses and stuff. And he does one of the thumbs up, which
Yep.
also has to do with
Iconic
the
look.
whole like, yeah, it's the iconic look of the Pit Boy.
Mhm.
It has the thumb that also it's a significance, I think, like for also like if a nuke is bigger than your thumb
Yeah.
means run and hide or whatever. So
Which was a
it
cool.
has
Yeah.
yeah, it was actually a really cool concept, and it was cool that it was based off of him. I don't know if that was ever mentioned in the games. It could have been. Otherwise, I thought it was a really neat idea for them to do for the show.
Yeah.
Um, or maybe this character was talked about but never actually in the games. But
Oh yeah,
either way,
maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
yeah, like maybe. So I just thought that the show I just thought was amazing. Like even my girlfriend's parents I don't understand video games at all, and they
Yeah.
fell in love with the show before I didn't even
Yeah.
tell
You
them to
don't
watch
need
it.
to follow
No,
video
no,
games. Yeah.
yeah, they
They,
just
they don't go.
watched it and
They
they're
don't
like,
do the Doom thing where you go first person and stuff like
yeah,
that. I
no,
think there
but
was a couple times where they zoomed in on people who got shot though, like especially in that
then
town
they
scene,
do the
which was
slow
like
motion with the bullet.
yeah, that's part of
Yeah,
the games for like I
yeah.
know that, but
I didn't know that like the Pit Boy would always like I don't know what it was, but you could do like a slow motion scene and you could like pick
select
parts
the
where you're
body
shooting.
parts. Yeah.
Yeah, which is I haven't really got the hang of that in the game yet, but
Yeah.
that was definitely a small nod in that town scene. You're right. That was really
Yeah.
cool. For I think fans would probably enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. I'm going to say that I'm gonna have to edit this episode, not just straight upload it, because um my delivery is happening a lot sooner than I was expecting. So,
oh,
so
okay.
at some point I might step away to deal with that.
It's
Um,
okay.
but we'll like cut this together. Um, okay, so that's pretty much like the ghoul side of things, like his
Yeah.
backstory and everything. I mean, it's a whole thing where like um these uh I mean, were they showing like different the whole meeting that they were having? I can't remember if it was like different corporations or different organizations within Vault Tech that were kind of competing with each other.
I thought it
Uh,
was just Vault Tech, but I felt like they
yeah,
were like all the different
they're all competing with different vaults, and these vaults have like different experiments that are going on,
yeah.
all in the name of power and money and
Mhm.
everybody kind of controlling the world and everything.
Yeah.
Um, but uh, like his character gets wise to this because he has a friend, an actor friend, who found this group and kind of put him on to like what his wife is doing, and he spies on this organization. That's pretty much all the flashbacks are pretty much explaining his side of the story. um I'm kind of interested in like what's happening within each of the vaults, like the whole
Yeah.
like I thought once she left the vault we weren't going to see the vault again, but they kept showing the vault and like stuff that's happening there, and this whole other mystery like where like what happened with Vault 31, where these people came from. And I think that part of the story is like what I'm most interested in.
Yeah, because from what I got, like, because in the game they freeze people in the vaults too. So from what I've
Mhm.
gathered, the people in Vault
Which
31,
they did show, yeah.
yeah, they're all frozen, led by an AI who was that guy who kept mentioning time throughout the show.
Mhm.
And I think that's his brain because he kept saying, "Time is the biggest villain. Time is the biggest villain." Blah
Yeah.
blah blah. We're gonna be the monopoly when this is over.
And his
Um,
brain was one of the like corporate execs,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, from the flashback.
So, like, I'm wondering if so obviously Vault 31 was in charge and they would communicate with each other and they would put an overseer who was probably more of like a obviously the her dad was an overseer and he was part of that executive board
He
too.
was,
Like
yep.
so they
Yeah.
put an overseer in charge who's an executive for 32 and 33 and they kind of from what I gather you're just supposed to those extra two vaults are just for 31 to keep breeding people. So they have a breeding pool so that they can all survive and they can do whatever. Um, but what I got from 32 was they learned what was happening and what their existence was for was just to breed. And so they got wiped out. I don't know. It doesn't really show you who and by how. I'm assuming
Mhm.
maybe uh, I don't know because there's no other survivors. So unless there's some more people who are like in it, like maybe her dad and a group
Yeah.
of other evac executives, maybe they got woken up, killed everybody, fucking went back to sleep, and they had to start fresh. Because it seems like the Raiders came in there after.
Yeah.
Lucy's mom left to go to that town that was already
Shady
thriving.
Shady Sands,
Shady
right?
Sands.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was already thriving, and it seems like her dad just nuked it, also turning his Lucy's mom
Because
into
it was the
a
competition.
yeah. And I think that is in a flashback where they're not sure what to do with the vaults and how they all have like a same goal is to be the main winner out of all the other
Yep.
companies. Vault Tech should just be the one that in charge of everything. But I think they all had different ideas of how to go about it.
Yeah.
So I think that was like the thing. So maybe there's a whole bunch of different vaults, and each one has their own. Like we stumble upon a different vault
Yeah.
that has now been taken over by its people because it didn't like what was happening before, and it seemed like whoever was running that vault decided that breeding them with different creatures was gonna be the way to for humanity's
Yeah.
yeah because he was
I think
breeding
wasn't
them
it
with
one of the guys at the table? Wasn't that his idea? Like, what if we make people? breed with
It
other
could have been.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been because I remember. I just know from that scene, like they were like, "Yo, we're not the crazy ones. The people
Yeah.
before us were the crazy ones. They were breeding. You know, that woman gave birth to like piranhas, dude. Like it was like she gave a
Yeah, that
water
was
birth to
crazy. Yeah.
piranhas. There was
They
a
were
giant.
the little fish from that made that like big one with the teeth with the fingers, right?
Oh yeah, see the teeth with
Yeah.
fingers was fucked up too, and
Yeah.
Jess thought that was a fish too. I thought that was like more of like a frog. It was more like
Oh,
a
okay. Yeah.
I was getting more of like a
Kind of, yeah.
frog vibe from that thing. Like it like hopped on the land. It had a big like the mouth and stuff. Just it gave me, and then it used its tongue like really fast to like grab that deer, that cute baby
Mhm.
deer, and just like brought it back. I don't know. I got more of like a frog amphibian thing from it, but yeah, it seemed like they were breeding humans with that thing because even the guy in the vault was like, "Yeah, that was my uncle," and I was like, "Are you what?" I was like, "That's
Yeah.
crazy." I'm like, "That was so." Obviously, that vault was turned around, and they weren't actually crazy.
Yeah.
It did make you seem that way at first because like when they had beds for people, it was putting them in the test subject
Yes.
bedrooms, and I was like, oh, Jess was like, oh shit, and then it was like, no, we're actually good. Sorry, we put you in the test subject room or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck. So, didn't actually say that, but it was a false. Because I was like, these people are fucked up. These people are gonna. There's something crazy going on here. Um, it was funny that he was like, "Don't go to room 12 or floor 12 or whatever." But
Yeah.
yeah.
Guaranteed. They'll go
So
to
there's
floor 12.
definitely I'm with you. I want to learn more about all the different vaults and the
Mhm.
weird shit they got going on in them because that
Yeah.
seems because I will say that in like 2 episodes in, I was like, I don't care about what the fuck's going on in the vault. I don't give a shit. I want to know what's going
Yeah.
on the
On
surface.
the surface, yeah.
The vault has no secrets. And then
The
like
surface is
a little bit,
the same old anarchy story of
yeah,
um, you know, uh apocalypse kind of
yeah,
anarchy.
Mad Max, whatever
Yeah.
else. Yeah,
The
but
vault
then
stuff
the
is more like, oh shit, what's actually going on there?
yeah, that's how I felt after. I was like, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
actually the vault's got some mysteries that I want solved because that was pretty interesting." So,
So, but
um,
the guy's wife mentioned that there were good vaults. So these are obviously like safe, normal vaults that these higher ups hide in, right? Except
right.
for the guy who ended up becoming a brain, I guess, in Vault 31. And I don't know. I don't get how these like good vaults work. And that's another thing I'm interested in finding out.
Yeah, they didn't explain that, but maybe at the moment, if we just don't wake up anybody in Vault 31, technically
Mhm.
Vault 33 is a good vault. They're all good people. They don't want to kill
Well, some
the
of them are
raiders.
from 31 though, so we don't know. And it seems like they're
That's true.
shifty, they're not answering questions.
Yeah.
They're still taking orders from the guy in the brain, like he's still telling them what to do.
Well, only
So.
he's only telling Betty what to do.
Yeah, but I
He's
mean
only
the whole like all of 31 was like there's people in 33 that are trying to have a democracy. They're
yeah.
trying to they're trying to vote and be a communal people. And then the people in 31 are more no, we have to manipulate everything. We need to make sure that we're in charge. So we need to make sure we send somebody there
I didn't
who
think there was anyone left from Vault 31.
they're all yeah, no, there's people in 33 who are from 31 and they're all taking orders from the guy in the brain who's also in 31.
See,
Um
for what I got from that was 31 all killed themselves a long time ago. That's why we see a bunch of skeletons and stuff. And
we
then the
saw that in
Raiders,
32.
yeah,
32 was all
32.
dead. Yeah,
But
but
31 is just
there's
all
people
they're
from
all
like
frozen.
the pregnant woman was from 31. Lucy's dad was from 31 and they have this
We're
whole
okay.
slogan, when in doubt vote for somebody from 31. Or like
Right,
when
okay.
things
So
are
those
tough,
people,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So they
People
kind
were
of
finding
burn that
out.
into their brains like, hey, 31 knows what they're doing. You need to trust 31.
Right.
So they
I'm
kind of
saying the people from 33 are I think are good. I think they're just
Mhm.
naive and they don't understand. They're like, I don't
Yeah,
want to lead. I'm
for sure,
scared. Here
yeah.
you go. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, for sure.
31's obviously evil. 33 is not evil. 32 found out about the evil and pretty much
Yeah.
it seems like everybody from 32. So my understanding was everyone from 32 rose up,
Yeah.
killed their overseer. That was probably years ago because a lot of them are skeletons. They all
Mhm.
died.
Yeah.
Lucy's mom went to Shady Sands. Her dad nuked it. Mordova got her bracelet, opened up Vault 32, and led the raiders through.
Mhm.
pretended to do the breeding thing, and then afterwards they're like, we got the guy that we wanted,
Yeah.
but the Vault 32 is literally just a mess of like it's just
Yeah.
dead people from whatever years ago they fought. So there's no one left in 32.
Yeah.
However, in the show now 33 is going to 32 to, I guess, rebreed that area, repopulate it.
Yeah.
Um,
A lot of this stuff
yeah,
is a play on like real life stuff. Like obviously the differences between capitalism and communism and stuff like that.
yeah,
There's that sort of undertone. The whole election process too, like 31 controlling everything, manipulating everyone, 33 like voting against their own interests and what's the best thing for them, because they
yeah,
know we were told if things go bad, which they have, and they have in the past as well, conveniently when there's election time, that we need to make sure that 31 is in charge, so that way we don't have somebody whose radical ideas take over. We have somebody who we've been told it knows what they're doing, right?
yeah,
So it's kind of like the stuff that you do see in real elections and like within Canada, US, and other parts of the world that kind of follow this sort of
yeah.
trajectory.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I liked everything in the show. Like I just
Yeah.
I like the characters. Maximus, I loved him. I think Lucy did a fantastic job as her role.
Yeah.
I loved Maximus a lot. I like the chemistry between them. Um, I have to say though, I think Moldova was a cool villain. I wish we
Hmm.
kind of actually got more of her. But I will say, I think the Ghoul might have been like the best character, and I know everyone's
Walter
saying that.
Goggins is great. Yeah, he's a great
Everyone
actor.
says that this is his best role that he's ever been in. Like this is his like if he gets an award this year,
Hmm.
like he deserves it because his character as both like the nice guy in the past and then his
Yeah.
Ghoul is so good. Like it's so good. I can't imagine how much time that takes to put all that makeup on too. Like that's got to be makeup,
Yeah.
right? Like
I
that's got to that
imagine some of it is CG, but yeah, it's got to
yeah.
be like a lot of it's got to be makeup.
Yeah, like they probably do mostly
Yeah.
makeup and CG a few touches, but that's like that looks like hot to work
Yeah.
in. But I don't know, he crushed it. The chemistry with him and Lucy, sort of, he's kind
Mhm.
of it gave me like Joel and
Well, I don't know if I go
Ellie
that
vibes.
far.
No, but like they don't get along in the beginning, but then they
Yeah.
get along later. Not quite
Well,
as far, but
not as far. Yeah.
yeah, not as far. But there was like
Yeah.
that, like she was like, I hate you. She's like, I hate you. She's trying to escape from him. She
Yeah.
hates this. And then later he's like, well, why don't you follow me and we'll both try to find the answers we're looking for.
Yeah. We're
Like the
gonna
big thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna pause this discussion though, unless you just want to talk by yourself, while I go deal with the order that's at my door.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
If that's fine, then we'll
Um,
edit the podcast here to continue.
sure.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a really good show. Just I enjoy it a lot. I know there's fans out there who are be like, you're not a real fan just because you watched the show. Definitely would have felt the same way, but honestly, like it's turned me into it, and I think it's really good. Like I've playing all the games now. I really hope they kind of revamp some, um, just for better gameplay, just maybe a little bit smoother. I think there's people who are waiting for a Fallout 76, or is it a Fallout New Vegas sequel? I think there's people who are waiting for that, really want it, and this show will probably bring that, just from the new fan base that's it's created, or added to, I should say.
I'm sorry. I I thought we were gonna be recording a lot earlier, and I thought that was gonna take a lot later.
That's okay. Yeah, we'll just trim that then, and then start from here.
All right.
I didn't really talk much. I had talked for like 5 seconds, and then we'll
Okay.
start here. What's another scene I wanted to go over? Um, oh, it has also made me a huge fan. I mean, I've always been a fan,
Mhm.
of Johnny Cash, but
Okay. Yeah.
holy cow, I've been listening to I've been just stuck on a Johnny Cash playlist,
Yeah.
and that song. I don't know if I heard that song before. Like I don't know.
What was it again?
Um, it is called. It's on my phone. Let me see. Doggone Lonesome by Johnny Cash.
Was it for the finale?
I think they played it again at the end. But it was the
Yeah.
scene when he's getting beat up after he fixes that piece for his armor, Maximus.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys are all like tinkering with his armor and trying to steal it. And then they beat him up. And then he gets up and he grabs that pipe and that half a toilet seat and then just beats those guys up with it. And
Right.
like it was such a good fight scene. And the song that plays fit it so well. Like I've been stuck listening to that song at work or when I'm cutting the grass, I throw it on.
Yeah.
It reminds me similar to Johnny Cash's song Folsom Prison Blues. So sometimes the tune kind of gets me because I love Folsom Prison. Um, but so goddamn lonesome,
Mhm.
doggone lonesome. I love that one. So I don't know if you do you remember that one off the top of your head right now. I probably can't play
No,
it, can I?
no,
Probably
no.
can't
We
play that.
won't be able to play it.
Yeah, I didn't think
Definitely
so,
not.
but it is really good tune.
This is the extent of what I can play on the screen here.
Gotcha.
Like this, a still image, because I know if I play anything else, Amazon's not gonna like that.
Yeah, but that scene is so good, and I like it. It's really short, but just the way that he gets up, he's already beaten, and he's just like in a last ditch effort, he grabs a pipe and half a toilet seat and just takes out these guys. He finally gets his arm back into the machine, and he grabs that dude's skull and just pops it
Yeah,
like a watermelon, like exploding. It was so good. And the other guy just freaks out. The last guy just runs away. Yeah, just couldn't watch that scene, but I was like, oh my god, like that
yeah.
was a sick scene for Maximus.
So, uh, I guess there's still so much mystery in the show. I
Yeah,
don't know how. Like, has a second season been confirmed yet?
I think it's been confirmed. I don't know if
Yeah.
it has a. It definitely doesn't have a date or a like a starting date or anything yet, but I think
Right.
it's been renewed at least. I guess.
That's
Um,
good. Yeah.
just everything was so good in it. Even like the even bringing the roaches.
Mm-hmm.
When the guy's dog gets the roach in the beginning, or
Yeah.
when his little squire guy locks him in the suit.
Yeah.
And the roaches are all around it, and Lucy starts, shooting them. You kind of see a little bit of how her aim gets better throughout the show too. She gets just that pistol, but yeah, I don't know. I thought everything was so well done, like everything, because I was like, oh man, I remember in the game there was like roaches, and I was like, I don't want to fight bugs. Bugs aren't
Yeah.
fun to fight, but in the show, I was like, that is a gross ass cockroach, and was really cool. The one that guy was describing them, saying how like he has an interesting voice when they're back, I guess, jumping back towards that campfire, when he's like talking about how we always thought cockroaches would survive a nuclear fallout, but he's like,
Yeah.
but in fact, it's evolved them. He's like, they're bigger, they have giant incisors for swallowing bigger prey, and
Yeah.
just all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to see, honestly, like a lot more of what the wasteland has to offer. I
Mm-hmm.
want to know if we're gonna see what a death claw to see a death claw on screen would be so cool. I don't know if that's a mutated creature, or something built from like an experiment, or something that's developed from genetics. Like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I want to know what that thing is. Um,
Uh, we never got to talk about The Last of Us yet, but would you because for me, I feel like The Last of Us is a perfect adaptation of a video game on screen.
yeah.
Um, like where do you think this compares?
So they're Last of Us, because I played the game
Hmm.
and they did it off of the actual game itself. It is like Last of Us. The only main difference they really did from Last of Us from the game to the show The only like there was almost everything was like you could hold up the screen, you could watch the show.
There are some
Like
differences, but the core of the game, yeah, is pretty much the
yeah,
show.
there's almost no differences. It's
Yeah.
almost like at most the biggest impacting scenes are like shot for shot, or word for word. Um,
Yeah.
Two differences I enjoyed was I know the character wasn't deaf in the I think it was Sam, the brother
Hmm.
of Sam wasn't deaf in the game, but they made him deaf in the show, and I thought they did such a good job with that that I enjoyed that more.
Yeah.
And I know Wilson, not Wilson, Sam and Henry.
The actual infection was different.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's
Instead
stuff
of
like
spores,
that, but
yeah.
it happens. I think some stuff was better in the show, honestly, than the game. Like some
I
stuff was like,
honestly feel like the game was, or I mean, the show was better than the game. Like
yeah.
for me personally.
The only thing I kind of wanted to see more clickers, but they didn't show a lot of clickers in the show. It was more of like how bad humanity was.
There's more
So
room for them in the game when that's your actual
right,
mission and goal is to get through
yeah,
these things. Yeah.
because like you got like a 9 episode show versus a 20 to 30 hour game.
Yeah.
So like you need more filler of fighting clickers, and I understand that. Um, I would have enjoyed a whole episode of you going through the town with Bill.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
that scene that they did with Bill with like his background was a really good scene too. Like it
Yeah.
was so good. And you saw Bill and his partner, um, and that whole episode. Like my girlfriend cried at that episode.
Well,
Like she loved.
we'll get into The Last of
Yeah,
Us when we do
yeah,
our discussion
yeah. I don't
there.
want to spoil it. I would
Yeah.
say The Last of Us was they're the two things I want from video game adaptations. Last of Us was perfect because they took the game that we've seen, the scenes that we've seen,
Yeah.
and the characters that we know and brought them to life beautifully. Whereas Fallout was like, here's some characters that you don't know of. We're going to make you love them. We're going
Hmm.
to fit this into the universe somewhere. And then we're going to have tons of shoutouts and stuff. And I was like, perfect. I don't know anything about the show. This is
Yeah.
awesome. The one that doesn't do well is like Halo, where they're like, "Here's everybody you love, but we've tweaked them, changed them, and the story makes no sense. Enjoy." And you're like, "Wow, this is everything I hate."
Yeah.
So, and I love Halo more than both of those two, and
Yeah.
it's not right. And another one is like the Mario movie. You have an
I
awesome
haven't watched it
story.
yet, so
Okay,
don't spoil.
I'll stop there. But yeah, that is something that because we had that like a little bit of a lull for um Marvel, I thought we
Mm.
could do you, me, maybe Courtney. It's kind of probably too hard to get Matt all the time, but if you, me, and Courtney can
That's a busy
watch,
guy.
yeah, if we can watch video game adaptations, and then especially if
We can
we've
do
played
that.
the games, play the
Mhm.
games, do the video game adaptation, and then talk about how we like, what we do like, what we don't like.
Yeah.
It kind of a little bit harder for this one because there's a whole it would take us a year to play all the
Yeah.
Fallout games with how busy they are, but the
Oh,
show we both enjoyed. So
I don't think I need to. Like maybe
right,
I'll try one out, but um in terms of The Last of Us, that second season's in production right now. There's
yeah,
already screenshots and stuff that's happening. We will definitely have a discussion. I feel like it's more appropriate to do that closer to season 2 because
sure,
we've taken so long to talk about season 1.
yeah,
So yeah, we'll definitely have that discussion. We were trying to get all of us together all at once, and
yeah. Because I
it's
want to
very
be a part of
difficult.
that one. I want to talk about that one because I've watched The
Absolutely.
Last of Us probably 4 times all the way through too. I love
Yeah.
that one so much. So I will watch it again before the second one comes out because I know my
Yeah.
girlfriend will want to refresh on that as well. Um, but yeah, no, honestly, it's hard to rate which one I like more. The Last of Us, maybe a little
Mhm.
bit more because I love the game and I played it, and you brought all my characters that I love on the big screen.
Yeah.
Whereas Fallout, I don't know anybody, but you made me fall in love with your franchise by making up a story and
Mhm.
bringing it to life. Honestly, I bet if they even took characters from the game and brought it to life, if they did it the same way the Fallout was,
Mhm.
the director did such an amazing job that I would have fallen in love with it either way. It was so good.
Yeah.
Like I
Uh
want a game now based off of that series because it was so
right.
good.
I really enjoyed the show. I wouldn't say it was like my favorite thing ever, but
Yeah,
I did enjoy it. As someone who hasn't played any Fallout games, I thought it was a cool way to introduce the world. Definitely looking forward to more. Um, and I don't really have too many thoughts beyond that. It was just like I'm not like This isn't like a thing I'm like wholly invested in. It's not like my favorite thing ever, but
Right.
it is an enjoyable show, and I did enjoy it. I was expecting more like there was definitely presence of that in the show. I was expecting a lot more of the 50s influence. Like
Okay. Yeah.
just like music all the time, because that's what I mostly know from Fallout, from like observing it. It's just everything's um like it's set around that sort of like 50s
Yeah.
nostalgia, and so like the music, the designs and everything are all based around that. So
Yeah, a lot of it's posters and like the
mhm,
music. I think that's what the
yeah.
the music got me into it because a lot of the soundtrack is kind of what like Guardians of the Galaxy did, where they just took all the music
Yeah.
from that era and put it in there. So like you're in the future, but it's rustic.
Mhm.
So a lot of the future stuff that you still have is from the past, which is actually kind of what the I forgot to mention. That's what the brotherhoods people do. They
Yeah.
just find stuff they call relics of the
Mhm.
past. And remember that one squire was like, "Yeah, we go on a mission to find a relic, and it's a
Mm.
fucking toaster oven." Like they're like,
Yeah.
they like to look for relics, and then they end up either really cool stuff or it's junk that they to
See,
them is like
I
we
feel like
have to.
they're looking for specific things, but they don't want to actually tell them
Yeah,
what they're looking for, because it's kind of like they have a specific goal in mind. All they know, it's an old world thing that you have to find, and so they just keep coming up with junk because they don't know what they're looking for because they're not told, and
right.
then they kind of bring back toasters and shit like that.
Um, yeah, man, I'm trying to remember what else I enjoyed. Like, I think what I enjoyed most with the show was that we got a nice taste of what this world's gonna be like,
Hmm.
but there's so much more that they can add in the second season that
Yeah,
like
for sure.
that's why I think where I'm like, man, I want more Fallout. I'm craving it now. It's making me go back to play the games because I want to learn more. So that's I
Yeah.
think once I get that second season and I get more of the Wasteland, I'm like, this is a really good show. Like it was like a I would give this like a I don't know if 10 out of 10 is just because I'm loving it too much right now, but maybe like a strong 8 or 9 out of 10 because of how much it like I want to know more of this
Yeah.
universe. So
I'd say 8. I'd say 8
8,
for
yeah.
me.
I think Jess gave it a 7.5 or an 8. That's what she
Yeah.
said because she's like, I don't really know much about it. So she's like, I loved what I saw. So me, I'm
I
like,
don't
now I'm playing the games and
yeah.
I'm craving more. So
I don't like doing review scores, but I would say that's probably better than 8.
yeah.
Uh, damn, I had a thought and I completely lost it.
Well, before we end, we gotta make sure we
Yep.
just at least talk about the ending of the series where it left off.
Hmm.
Or I don't know.
They got the guy's head. They put the thing in the thing.
Fusion, yeah, the cold fusion
The
and
cold
the
fuse
thing,
in the thing.
yeah.
Um,
Which
Lucy's
at which
dad was in the
actually,
cage.
yeah, at which that cold fusion was cool because when it was activated, it relit up all of Sands.
Yeah.
So like the whole city is now, although burnt and broken to shit, it was cool to
Yeah.
see a whole city now back to light. So that'll be cool for the next season, to see a city that's kind of like it was a city that was thriving that got
Hmm.
blown up, and now we're gonna see it maybe being rebuilt and people starting to move in and start to like maybe rebuild society. That would be pretty interesting to see from the
Yeah.
Fallout form. But yeah, you're right. They got the Brotherhood invaded. Lucy found Mordova.
Hmm.
Do you want to say how Lucy found her mom?
Her mom was a ghoul sitting at the table with Moldova, and she explained that her mom. Well, we said it earlier that her mom moved to Shady Sands, and
Yeah,
father was trying to get her back home to the other vault, and they ended up blowing up Shady Sands. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, what happened? So the dad got away, right? Like he flew.
Yeah, he got
As well.
away. I think the ghoul recognized him from the past because
Hmm.
they know each other from 200 years ago. One was a
Yeah.
ghoul and has been living off radiation. The other one is was frozen, so
Hmm.
they both coexist in the future now. I believe he shot him in the cheek or grazed his cheek, and it
Yeah.
looked like he was gonna fight for a second, but then he ran away. So now the ghoul and Lucy looks like they're the end. It kind of ends with them teaming up. The
Yeah.
dog is there. So you got is it dog? What's the name of the dog?
Dog
Dog
meat.
water. Dog meat. So you got dog
Dog
meat.
water.
You got Dogmeat,
Yeah.
the Ghoul, and Lucy all going after Lucy's dad for answers. The Ghoul is trying to find his father or family.
Mhm.
And Maximus got knocked the fuck out from the dad in his power armor.
Yeah.
So Maximus has taken the um I guess the what do you want to call it? The blame or the credit. He has
The
taken the
credit.
credit.
Yeah, the
The
credit. Yeah.
credit for I guess the blame in his eyes, but the credit in the Brotherhood's eyes for killing
Mm,
Moldova.
yeah.
And he is going to I don't know if he's going to be now a knight because they said all hail Knight Maximus, and
Yeah.
that's the
And it
last
seems
time we
like the
see him.
organization is trying to like train him or like push him
Yeah.
towards their cause, right? And
Yeah, he might he's looks like he's gonna be the new kind of face of
yeah.
well not maybe not the face, but like he it looks like he's gonna be one of the if if they got Cold Fusion now because they've taken over that place,
Yeah.
Brotherhood could possibly be in charge of Sandy Shores now or Shady Sands. I
Yeah.
can't remember. I think
Shady
Shady
Sands.
Shores is a different
The
city
the
and that'd
people
be
in that vault that Lucy found, there's several people down there. They're kind of refugees from Shady Sands, and they had that weird ritual where they're like, um,
oh yeah.
they're pretty much saying like how they want to return to the surface, and that Moldova is their leader. So
Yeah.
there's that whole side of the story that should be interesting for season two. Are those people going to want to return to the surface? Whereas like that vault is trying to like keep people in the vault and not have them leave. It seems pretty much if they can
Yeah.
help it. Um, it or yeah, are they going to return now that there's power to the city? Or what they're going to feel like now that Moldova's dead? That's a whole side of the story, for sure.
That's all a good point because I honestly looked at that
Hmm.
whole kind of scene as like, hey, here's a
Yeah.
little glimpse at another vault. It's kind of going to be a little bit of filler. It's also kind of be a little bit of comic relief,
No, it kind of
and then we're gonna go
explains
back to
like, hey, the vaults are like experiments, and this
right,
vault's fucked up and different than yours. Yeah.
right. You got a little bit of information from it too. I forgot about the whole culty. We all
Hmm.
get naked and rub blood on our
Yeah.
scene. Um, So yeah, that's true. They could we could see some of those characters again. I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll see the guy with the overseer with one eye. We might see him again.
Yeah.
Was a hilarious scene when they
We're kicking them out.
yeah, because
Yeah.
he went yeah
It
that's
seemed like
it's,
it seemed like they were gonna kill them, but like we're giving you like survival guides and
yeah
like all this stuff. Make sure that you're safe out there.
yeah. We are executing you by banishment with 2 weeks worth of food supplies. And she's like, oh, that's it. And he goes, and he's like, no, that's not it. We are also, yeah, he's like, we're also giving you 2 weeks of food supplies. He's like, if you think that's, it was like, that was like a harsh punishment in their
Yeah.
eyes. That's so funny. 2 weeks of food and
Yeah.
water.
I love that scene.
The way he has the knife or the big like I think it was a
Yeah.
giant knife, and then he starts like slowly cutting the rope. It was so funny, or her cuffs or whatever. Yeah, a little hilarious scene there. I won't really. I'll leave that for people to see and a little bit more. But yeah, we didn't
Mhm.
really cover. We kind of went over the basic outline. We didn't really go over like a lot of the gist, but I'll leave that for you guys to still watch. I don't want to spoil too
Well, I
much,
mean,
even though
this
it
is
is
again,
spoiler.
this is a spoiler podcast. Everybody's
Yeah,
watching this has already seen it.
yeah,
So if
yeah.
there's anything that you want to dive into, you can go ahead.
Yeah. No, I don't really know. Like we kind of covered. I mean, we left some characters out. Like we didn't really go over the snake oil
Okay.
salesman and his whole
Is he
role.
important?
Well, I mean, I rescued him in Fallout Shelter. He's a
Oh,
character in
really?
that. Yeah, so that was weird. There was those people who were harvesting organs in the
Hmm.
super general store, which is also a store from Fallout. Like that one,
Yeah.
the rocket gas station, those are famous places, so it was cool that
Oh,
they
cool.
added both of those. Yeah, the super duper store or whatever.
I didn't
That's
think
another
much
character.
about those characters. I thought that was just
No,
like a side thing that I didn't need to think about much.
it was just weird because they came up a couple times. Like he came up
Mm.
where Maximus rescued him, and
Hmm.
then he was in the that he got captured, and then Lucy rescued him,
Yeah.
and then he turned that one guy into a ghoul. So
Like that,
I like
he was about to kill himself, put like shotgun through his head
yeah
when he
yeah
sees that one guy walking across.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the last of I don't think we've seen the last of him. Like I think
Okay.
he'll be a character in the next one, which was crazy when Maximus was about to almost rip a dude's skull off because
Yeah.
he's when Maximus saved him from him, and he's like, "Sorry, man, he was fucking my chickens." And Maximus was like, "Ah, I guess I saved the wrong person," kind of like it was just a
Yeah.
weird scene. Um, I don't know.
There's that scene on
We'll
the
see that.
bridge that was weird too. That there's the two people on the other side.
Yeah, yeah, they were.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, that was a glimpse at cannibals.
Yes.
I think they called them man eaters or something. I forgot what they called them, but I think that was a look at cannibals that we only had a quick glimpse, and then Maximus killed them both.
Hmm.
Um, that's the other character I forgot. That robot.
I
That
that's another
was
thing. I thought we were going to see more robots in the show.
I thought so too, but maybe once that city gets its lights back on, its power,
Hmm.
maybe they'll get that. But
Yeah.
that robot is in Fallout 4. It could be in other ones, just from my
Yeah.
gameplay experience. It's in that one. Um, you do rescue him in Fallout Shelter as well. His name is Snip Snip, which is what the guy calls him, and he collects stuff for you in your vault. Like he collects all my power stuff. He'll go around and do stuff, which is really it's kind of cool. But um, was really another thing that kind of threw me off though was the ghoul cut off her finger and then
Yep.
they just put a new finger on
Hmm.
her from a drawer, which
Yeah.
obviously shows that stim packs have crazy healing abilities. If you can heal, like that's like a rotten finger at that point. It's in a drawer
Yeah.
and you've just put it back onto a live person. And now, wouldn't that be so weird to like have your finger
Yeah.
as somebody else's that you
Yeah. Of
control
course.
now? Like if you have a nervous habit and you're always biting your nails or something,
Yeah.
you're biting somebody else's skin that
Yeah.
you're growing. That is so weird to me. Like it was so, and that is what Lucy has now. She's got a weird finger. It could be a male's finger. Like it's
Could be.
such a
Yeah.
weird. Like I was thinking about that all day. Like after I saw
Really?
that, I was like, yeah, I was like, man, like think about all the things you do with your finger that's
Yeah.
somebody else's. Like you know, you go to like adjust your nose, you pick a little,
Yeah.
like that's somebody else's finger in your nose. That's I don't know. That's weird stuff.
Get something stuck in your teeth.
Yeah, anything in like other activities,
Yeah.
intimate activities, it's just
Hmm.
very weird. Very weird to have somebody else's finger. And she was like, "Oh, thanks." I
Yeah.
was like, "That wouldn't be my reaction."
I
I
feel
would be
like I
like,
would. I feel like I would rather have a finger.
I would too, but
Hmm.
I don't know if my reaction would still be thanks. I don't know. I would have been like she was very happy that she got a
Yeah.
finger. I don't know if I'd still be like, I lost my finger today. I'm gonna go back to the vault. This day is over. I'm done. Like I'd
Yeah.
be out. Like I was so pissed. But it was funny. She's like, I thought you were gonna. What did she say? I thought you were gonna rape me or something. He goes, oh my god, no.
Yeah.
That's gross. I'm just gonna harvest your organs. Like he said.
Yeah.
Like it was. I forget what she said, but it
Yeah.
was obviously very bad. And the robot was very offended that he said that. She said
Yeah.
that. And then he's like, no. I'm just gonna harvest your organs while you're
Yeah.
still alive. Like it was that robot was very funny too.
I don't know if I have anything else to say about the show. So, you want to end it there for a discussion on Fallout Season 1?
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Obviously, we'll probably do a follow. You know, once Fallout Season 2 comes out, maybe we'll talk. We'll do a little revamp before. Maybe we'll
Mm-hmm.
do a if we watch it again, we'll do what we think
Like a
is
once
to
over,
come.
yeah.
Yeah, what we think is gonna come with the
Our
new season. Maybe
theories,
we'll watch a trailer for Season 2 and we can do some
yeah.
thoughts. And we'll do a revamp uh, or yeah.
That
I'm
sounds
excited.
good.
I'm excited to do Last of Us with you, me, and Court though, because I want to be a part of
Yes.
that one, and
Yes.
especially the Mario movie. I can't believe you haven't watched that yet, because it's
I
really
can
good.
watch if we want to have a discussion on that. I can watch that.
Yeah, I could do that. I think
Mhm.
you and Court are the huge Nintendo fans, so
Fort has
she's
seen
probably
it.
already.
He
Yeah,
has
so
seen it.
we
Yeah.
should do the three of us talk about that one because it was really well done.
I'm playing. I'm buying some of the old Mario games and replaying them. So
Oh yeah, no, I think you'll like the movie. I can't
yeah.
believe you haven't seen it yet. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Definitely look forward to that.
yeah. Anyways, yeah, Fallout. Highly recommend you watch it.
Hmm.
And it's created a new fan out of me for it. For someone who owned the games but didn't really get into them. Like I had, I think 3, 4 in New Vegas on Steam, and I've probably played 25 minutes of the 3 collectively, and now I'm
Yeah.
playing through them on Xbox and I'm enjoying them a lot. So
Are you playing?
yeah,
Sorry, did you say 76 or no?
I'm playing 4 and New Vegas. I
There
did
seems
a
to be a
little of New Vegas.
resurgence of people playing 76 now.
Well, I started with 4, and then everyone said
Yeah.
I should play New Vegas, but I've already gotten a little bit further through 4, so I'm kind of playing that. But 4 is the first one where you can actually build cities and
Yeah.
like towns and stuff. And I got too. I suck at building, but I got too much into trying to build a base for the people in the town, and then I was like, this is like an hour of my time, and I haven't actually experienced the campaign. So I was like, I gotta just.
Yeah.
Good luck, guys. I gotta go. I got campaign stuff to do. Good luck
I
with building the city.
I think people are playing 76 because it's the latest and
Mhm.
because it's online and it's getting updates and
Mm,
so it seems like people are now flocking to that game, which is funny because like there's so few games that survive after a failed launch like 76.
right.
Um, there's that. There's Cyberpunk. I want to say there's another game recently. No Man's Sky. There's a few other games like that. But typically, when you have like a bad launch, like a lot of people just
Yeah.
abandon the game and give up on it. So it's surprising that with just this show, people are returning back to 76, which is it's
Oh yeah.
interesting to
My
see.
whole Xbox was just like
Hmm.
play Fallout this, play Fallout that. So I think like
Yeah,
Xbox was like shit, put everything on Game Pass because like I have
yeah.
now I'm playing it. So
Even Amazon
um
Prime. I mean, this it's an Amazon production, right? So
yeah,
they're doing the free giveaways for Fallout stuff too. So
I
um,
think I think Gears has a good chance to revamp the games if they do the show really well because there's a lot of good content there. I am, however, worried about Borderlands because Borderlands is so good and like it's probably my third favorite series
mhm.
and the trailer for the show does not look great. Or
Yeah.
the movie, and I'm just hoping it doesn't just crash and burn, and then we just get no Borderlands stuff after that. Because I don't think Tiny Tina's Wonderlands did great. Um,
Oh, it didn't? I
so
don't know
I,
actually.
I don't think so. I played 1, 2
Hmm.
pre-sequel, the Telltales one, and I played
The
uh,
Borderlands
3. So
IP is kind of like in a rough state right now because the
yeah,
owners have or the like Gearbox has switched owners several times. They're now under Take Two Interactive.
mm,
So like they just acquired them.
yeah.
Um, and they're also Take Two's also going through layoffs. So it's tough to say right now what's going to happen with Borderlands.
Mm.
So maybe if the movie does good, there's going to be people playing the games. But I don't know. We'll have to see.
I I do think because of how many people love Fallout, and especially for people I know who aren't gamers that have enjoyed Fallout,
Hmm.
I'm I'm really hoping this kind of might make a BioShock series or movie like come out like a BioShock with or BioShock Infinite would be so good. Like I didn't play all the BioShock games, but I love
Hmm.
Infinite, and I think that would be an awesome movie as well
Seems like
or show.
BioShock is one of those games that is poised to make a good live action adaptation for sure.
I think so. Yeah, just like even like a 10 episode or
Hmm.
10 episode, 8 episode series be great. Or
Yeah.
just a movie that covers. You could make a movie of each one, and then a Bioshock, like Bioshock 1, 2, 3,
Do you
and then an Infinite
prefer
spin-off.
Do you prefer the series adaptations or do you prefer the movie adaptations?
Um, a movie. Huh. I don't know. The Last of Us was great. It was so perfect because it
Hmm.
got whatever you need to tell the whole story
Yeah.
without cutting too much out is what I think is good. Because if a movie would be great, because then I could watch it in one sitting. But if you're cutting half of it out and then you got to make another movie to get the rest of the story in, then I'm kind of
Yeah.
pissed off. So if you can get the whole series in 8 episodes and you tell
Yeah.
the whole like Last of Us did the whole first game and the DLC, and if it all fits in beautifully. So like
Good
just
a,
do
a
that.
good example of that is the last Tomb Raider movie, where they tried to adapt the most recent like reboot of the game.
Yep.
Um, but because it's a movie and that game has so much in it and all
Yeah.
these different characters and relationships and everything, um, they significantly cut a lot of that stuff out for the movie, which I completely understand. Um, but and I enjoyed the movie, but I don't think it really got a lot of positive reviews, and I don't think a lot of people watched it. But it was so much of a cut down version of that game that I feel like that game lends itself better towards a series, and we'll see because Amazon's working on that. So we're gonna get that Tomb Raider series. So
Yeah, I think you're right because I liked I like the Tomb Raider games. I love them so much. But I think the first one, I was like, this is good because a lot of the stuff is in it, but not enough. That was the
yeah.
2018 Tomb Raider movie. That
Hmm.
one, that one also has our boy in it,
Yeah, Walter
Walton
Goggins.
Goggins.
Walton
Yeah,
Goggins. Yeah.
it has him in it too. So I did like um I remember not loving the movie, but I thought like parts of it, I was like, this is good because this looks like from the game. This is the same
Yeah.
scene. But then like a significant part would be cut out, and it was like only an hour and a half movie or something. So I was like,
Yeah.
this would have been a better show.
He had to pick
Like
and choose like what's
5 episode
yeah.
show would have been better. So
And she didn't have
uh,
she had like one like friend in the movie.
instead of
Whereas
like
in
that
the
group,
game there's a whole crew of people, right? And they all had
yeah.
like their own side stories and stuff.
Yeah. That's why like I don't really know if I prefer one or the other, but I
Hmm.
think my underlining is as long as you can fit all the important stuff from the game into the movie,
Yeah.
then you'll get me. Just don't cut out too much, but like The Last of Us can cut out all of the,
Last of
40.
Us didn't cut I don't they cut out the gameplay stuff,
Yeah,
right?
which is fine. It's fine. I don't
Yeah.
need 4 hours of you just shooting at
Not but
clickers for
yeah, exactly. But not only did they not cut anything important from the game, they expanded on it. And
yeah.
I'm sure we'll get into that in our discussion for that game. But just the fact that they took the opportunity to say, "Hey, let's expand on the world and the story and everything, and give you so much more than we ever gave you in the game."
Yeah.
That's honestly why I think the show is better than the game, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think so too. I like that's why I like the game. The game was great. It's a great game. Nothing's taken away from
Hmm.
it, but the show got it so perfectly, and they even brought a real giraffe. They didn't CGI a giraffe. That's so like that's there you go.
Yeah,
That's why like you're
the game
crushing it.
doesn't
And
have
it's
real
like
giraffes.
yeah, yeah, that's right. But yeah, that's why like I'm like Halo. I'm like, what are you
Yeah,
doing? Like even I remember getting in an argument before Halo series came out.
yeah.
Saw the trailer and I was like, this looks like garbage. Those elites look like shit. The CGI is
Hmm.
bad. And I got in a huge fight with somebody on Twitter over him like, did you see it? It looks so realistic. And I'm like, no, man. And
Remember
I'm
that
so glad
short
I
that
argued.
Microsoft did for Halo
ODST.
3? Or yeah, ODST.
The
Yeah,
Halo 3 had a good one too. There's one where you're rescuing the chief, I think, in Halo 3.
but
But
those look really
ODST,
good.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
why don't we fucking make a show like that? Like the
yeah.
ODST brutes look so good, but like,
I think
oh man,
I think at that time Microsoft those were tests for Microsoft to try to bring Halo to live action because they've
yeah,
been trying for so long to bring uh to 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 make a Halo TV series or movie that
yeah.
I honestly I feel like they just settled because like we're not going to do any better. We've been trying for so long, so this is the series that we're making now.
No, the series is garbage, and
Yeah.
like even I watched it all, and nothing was enjoyable.
Yeah.
Master Chief cried half the time. He had his helmet off, which everybody hates.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with he was like him and his friend family were fighting, and I'm like, that's his crew. They do everything that they want together, and they were
Hmm.
arguing. They were fighting each other. It was all bullshit. So many things were just whatever. I can't get into it because I'll just get
Yeah.
upset.
Well,
But
well,
it but yeah, you're right. The
mm,
trailers were better. ODST trailers, one of my favorite trailers. Even the Forward Unto Dawn, that little like
yes. Yeah,
mini,
I was
that
thinking about
little it's not a movie, but
Mhm.
I always watch it like it's a movie because I remember it came out in episodes.
Yeah.
For fall. I think it was came out for Halo 4 at the
Yeah.
time. Yeah, that was I love that. I watch that whenever I see it on, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
Like it's a good little movie. The Master Chief in that's how I want my Master Chief to be. He played a great
That's my
live
Master
action
Chief.
Master. Yeah. Oh yeah, the guy who played in the Halo
Yeah.
series. I'm sorry, whatever your name is, you're not my Master Chief. I think he's a wrestler or something, but he's a
Yeah.
terrible actor. I'm sorry.
So, any final things on Fallout? We'll wrap up the podcast here for this.
No, I'm just excited for more. Like I
Yeah.
think I've already said how much I'm a fan of it now. I'm excited for more. I can't wait because it's probably going to be like a 2-year thing before they come out with more. Like I
Yeah,
hope it's only a
probably.
year. Last of Us has already been a year, and I don't know if it's
Well,
even going to come out this
Last of
year.
Us was also like after pandemic, like they had to wait for stuff, so to start filming again.
Mm.
That sucks. I'm
Yeah.
curious on Last of Us how they're gonna do it because just playing the second game, how there's there's flashbacks and there's two characters' perspectives and how they go
I
through that
didn't play
game.
Last of Us 2.
Okay,
I
well
didn't play Last of Us.
I'm not gonna spoil anything, but how they go
Sure.
through that game,
Yeah.
is they go through it in a specific order that
Hmm.
I don't know is going to work well with the live action characters aging and how they're
Yeah.
going to be able and the production time and everything. So I'm wondering if they're going to be like flipping things around for the show, to make sure that they can tell the story that they need, but also be able to have um like the stuff filmed that they need to film in a specific time in a specific order.
Right.
So,
Right. And I know we'll talk about it obviously when we get to The Last
mhm,
of Us. But another thing I do like about video game adaptations is
mhm.
although Troy Baker is the best voice for Joel, he doesn't look like the character Joel. So
Yeah.
getting I can't remember his name right now.
Pedro Pascal,
Yeah,
Reed
getting Pedro.
Richards in the MCU.
Yeah, getting Pedro to play it,
Yeah.
it looked so good. I liked it. What is cool is to use voice actors for the iconic roles that they did and still put them
Mhm.
in the series. Because like Troy Baker was he was David.
Yeah.
He was like one of the henchmen in Last of Us. Um, the woman who played the Firefly, I can't remember her name. I think it starts with an
Yeah.
M.
I don't remember the actor's name. Yeah, but
I think it starts with an M, but she
mhm,
played the main Firefly girl.
mhm.
She did the voice. They made the character look like her in the game, and she played the character in the show. So I thought that was cool to still add her in it. And when they showed Ellie's mom, the woman who played Ellie's mom is the woman who voiced Ellie in the game.
I don't think she was in Firefly. I think I think they're two different actors.
No, she was a Firefly, like the
Oh, she was a
Fireflies.
Firefly. I'm rewatching Firefly right now, so that's on my mind.
Okay. Yeah, no, the woman who was the main Firefly, I just
Yeah.
couldn't remember her name. She was the part of the
Yes. Yes.
Fireflies.
She
She wasn't.
played the.
I haven't.
Well, I think they did the motion capture and everything for that actor too, right?
Yeah, yeah, which is
Yeah.
why it was cool for them to put her in the
Mhm.
same role. I'm like,
Made sense. Yeah.
she looked the same, so she looked great. Like she was perfect for it. And then Ellie's mom is too
Mhm.
old to play Ellie.
Yeah.
But
They
she
cast her
did the
as the mom.
voice,
Yeah.
so they cast her as the mom, and I was like, there you go. So
Mhm.
I was telling Jess, I'm like, that's Ellie's voice, that's her mom. I
Yeah.
was like that. I was nerding out. So all stuff I'm gonna just repeat when we watch
Yeah. When we discuss
when we
it.
talk. Yeah,
Yeah.
such a good show.
Well, that's where we'll end it here. What did you think about Fallout? Let us know in the comments down below. Did we get anything wrong? Do we need anything clarified? Leave a comment and we'll check it out. And then hopefully we will see you for Summer Game Fest. Anyways, have a good night, everyone.
See you later.